Been a little bit of a different week. It is the week of Thanksgiving. Today is Tuesday. Monday, yesterday was a kind of a dud. Like the places that I was trying to follow up with, like doors locked completely. So I don't know if everybody is just out and about, and I understand not everybody is out and about. Really the only quality conversation that I had was with a pizza owner that told me to come back on either a Monday or Tuesday, early in the morning. I went in during, it was like 2 p.m. So technically it was like lunch. So that being said, it kind of like brought my attention to the fact, and by the way, if I'm always in the car and you're like, dude, does this guy ever leave? I can mix it up. Totally, I can mix it up. But it got me thinking too, there's no such thing as like a perfect time to call on somebody. There are better times than not, but like if you're in that situation where you're gonna see a restaurant, we'll go through some word tracks. I'll put a separate video up, but definitely like when you go in, definitely apologize that you're interrupting them. If it's just like the only time you could try to get there. So I'll do a separate video on that. But that's kind of just the update. So really because of the lack of people that I've been able to spend time with, I do want this next clip to be more so about, what to do when these things are going on or these times of year are going on. So I'll get into a little bit of my strategy around emails, and we'll talk about some of these interrupting talking points as well in this next clip coming up. So just wanted to at least get my face on camera, because I know if I go more than 2 days without doing this, I'm done. So stay tuned for that. All right, I know I changed from that last clip, and I know I was like, oh, we're gonna get into emails and stuff, but let's, I wanna go over like just some topics that I think are relevant. I've been seeing this guy, Rich Norton, do a bunch of sales training that, the guy is clearly a successful dude. But that's just not my approach. I don't think anybody should tailor their sales off of one individual. So like go pause this, go watch his content, because it may resonate with you, but that's the way that I was taught. That's the training style, the approach that I was taught 10 years ago when I first got into this industry, and it never worked for me. It's not me. It's not my personality. I just simply, that's not who that's not me. So I'm going to give you my take, the Mark Forster way. This is just how I think it works for me. If it works for you, awesome. This is how my personality works. So I just think not everybody in merchant services should be selling the same way. So nothing against Rich. I hope all the best success. Dude, if you ever see this video, I know you're not going to watch it because you won't like this approach. You won't agree with it. But hey, there's definitely different ways to be successful in this industry. So I'm just going to showcase and highlight mine in a variety of aspects, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, whether it's email. So I want to get into all that. Again, take it with a grain of salt. This is just how I do things. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, let's get into email. Apologize for how I look, how I sound. My son gave me whatever he had, so we're just gonna roll with it. Hopefully nothing some of these boys can't solve. So when we get into cold email, one thing that I want to have you guys keep in mind is just the overall strategy that you want to take. There's so many different things with email. What I'm going to be speaking on is definitely a more lengthy process, and I understand that. So if you are looking to optimize your email strategy for cold outreach, and it is more geared towards a mass email campaign, probably not what is going to be seen here. It might not be the best thing to look at. The messaging part might be the best. So if you just want to skip this and go to the messaging part where I talk about that, cool. But essentially, the way I do email, it's very drawn out. It's very kind of like hand to hand, if you will, where I will, and what I've been doing, I gear towards local businesses, kind of the counties that I want to target. So I don't really do this stuff for any of my high risk merchants, any of my high risk prospecting. When I do email, I really stick with local because I use it as a tool to then visit them or call them after I send the email. So one popular method that I've been doing, at least where I start with local chambers of commerce. So one thing you can do if you want to do this approach is you could go to uschamber.com and then you just pull up whatever state that you're in, and then once inside that state, you will see and be provided a list of all the Chamber of Commerces in your state. So, for example, I got North Shore Chamber, which is North Shore, Massachusetts. I got Greater Boston Chamber, obviously Boston, Massachusetts. I don't want to go there. I'm not trying to drive into the city. I don't want to drive an hour and a half to get to the North Shore. So I'm obviously just going to target the local areas that I feel are best for me. So for my example, we'll do the Norfolk County. We could also do Cape Cod businesses just because I have a large presence down on the Cape. So it's simply as you go in, you open up whichever county, whichever area you want to start with, and you build a list. If you already, if you don't have a list, this is really just me building a list. That's really all that this is. You find out the business that you want to reach out to, whatever the vertical is, restaurant, retail, auto repair. You find those verticals inside of the chamber because they're going to split that up in their directory. And then you just one by one, bam, what's the owner's name? What's the best email address? And you add them into your CRM. Or if you don't have a CRM, your Excel spreadsheet. However you're going to be tracking these emails, that's what I recommend and that's what I do. There used to be a, like you could go to your library and you can search online for your library and you can just search like the city that you're in and then the businesses. I just found that doing it that way, they don't equate for businesses that are closed versus businesses that are open, right? So, I might get so-and-so's name, but it might be the old owner. So it just doesn't stay up to date. So I start here, and this is where I kind of gravitate towards. Once I have my list, what I want is I need that guy or gal, I need them to open up the email. So I'm not going to say that they all open it up, but I'm looking for, are they opening up their email? So again, when you're sending this out, if you're just sending stuff out via Gmail, you might not have these metrics to track. If you don't care about tracking metrics, don't. Use your follow-up in order to keep cultivating that. But if you want to see how things are going, I would, advise either your CRM or something like that has the ability to track that stuff. Guy outside is like cranking on his lawn. So if you're hearing any of that, my apologies. Okay, so the subject line, I'm just looking for something short and sweet. Again, I just want them to try to open that email. I typically only stick with two things. The first one is like, hey, name, or something like that. The one that I most commonly use is just quick question. I think that gets plenty of opens. I don't really want to overthink it. I don't want it to say XYZ merchant processing. I just want them to open that thing up, So, hey, Dan, or quick question, and typically you're going to see somebody will open that. The way that we structure this, and I'm going to go through a couple of examples, so hopefully this provides a lot of value. I know that I go on and on, so hopefully I'm just straight to the point. But when I do my email setup, one way that I have done it in the past is a 3-part message.
So in part number 1 or line 1, paragraph 1, whatever, we're going to just give a compliment. Then we go to line 2 or paragraph 2, where we portray a case study. And then that final line or paragraph 3 would just be a call to action. So compliment, case study, call to action. Each of these are just one sentence. Very short, very sweet, to the point. So an example could be, hey, blank. Hey, Dan, love what you're building over there. Huge congrats on your additional opening of location X, right? So you find something in the news, maybe something that they're getting involved in with the community. Again, time, right? This is personal. This isn't mass email. So if you're looking for a mass email strategy, this isn't it. But it's a little bit more personalized. They know when they're reading this that you're sending it directly to them, right? There is no insinuating that this is going to 1,000 people. Hey, Dan, love what you're building over there. Huge congrats on that new location that you just opened up. Boom, we get into the case study. So bam, one sentence there. Case study. Recently I've worked with, if you want to reference somebody in the area that you worked with, if you just want to say, hey, I help XYZ, whatever. But this is kind of how this one's structured. Recently, I've worked with ABC company on their payment processing, allowing them to reduce the fees that they're paying Visa and MasterCard each year, finding some holes that we can cover up and really make sure we button up their processing. That was long-winded. That's really not direct, so I apologize about that. Recently, we worked with XYZ on their payment processing, allowing them to find hidden gaps in their payment, in their services, which they're overpaying Visa and MasterCard each year. Done. And then the call to action. I have done typically interested ? Let me know and I can send over a few times to chat, right? So that's one way you could test. The other one, more common, what I'll say is, mind if I send over a couple of times for a quick call? Best. And that's how I'll end it. Short, sweet, to the point. So that's one example you could use. Again, I know I'm kind of spattering here, so if you want to rewind it and kind of go through that word track, you can. After whatever email, I'm going to go through some other ones. After the first email is sent, I stick to local. I do this because now I am going to follow up the next day, either in person or on the phone, as a follow-up, right? So we're never gonna just bank on one email working. We need to keep touching this person to see if there's interest, to develop trust, develop likeness, whatever. If you're just gonna stick to email and you're not gonna follow up in person or on the phone, I'm gonna go through follow-up sequences as well. But that's how I do things. So that's one example. Another example is maybe you are knocking doors first or calling on the phone first, and now you're going to use an email after the fact. So this email would be like a missed you email. Dan, popped into the shop today, you were out at that time, right? And then you get into the same case study, and then you get into the same closing line. The only thing that changes there is that first sentence. Let's see, what other ones do we have? That's cold prospecting. If you want to, like if you're in the chamber and you want to mention the chamber, sure, go for it. Dan, hope you're doing well. Saw that you're really active in the Neshoba Valley Chamber of Commerce, and then you can go from there. Mention, again, just kind of mentioning the fact that you're local, you're in the same footprint as him, mentioning or referencing the chamber, or referencing, like I said in the other example, referencing a customer in the area is going to do you some good service here. So those would be the biggest ones that I would work on in order to generate more clients. We can do another one here. Let's see. Now, here's an example. We have the regular cold email. We have, oh, I called on you, you were not there, I missed you email. We also have an email of, if you're not going cold and you want to just start drilling people that you're already doing business with. Now, you don't have to search a database for this. You know who you're doing business with already, right? So now you could say, hey, Jim, this is just Mark Forster. I've actually been a customer of yours for the past 5 years. You know, you do my plumbing for the past 5 years. Really appreciate all the work that you've done for us. Boom, then you get into, I actually run a local company as well called X. We help business owners uncover hidden gaps in their payment processing that often lead to overpaying Visa and MasterCard each year. By doing so, we're able to consolidate the fees into a trackable number that does not vary to give transparency each month. This is a little different. Test it if you want. Now, this closing line, this call to action, is kind of a pushback, if you will. It's kind of a taking a step back. Instead of saying, mind if I send over times, this one, and you can interchange these. This one is, my guess is you have this covered, but are you open to hearing more, if nothing but to see what else is out there? Look, a lot of people and a lot of trainers out there are going to say that's dumb. You never want to apologize. You never want to insinuate that you're like wasting their time. Or look, you're cold calling this person. They don't know who you are. The mere fact that you're cold calling, you are interrupting somebody. Like, let's not get it. The people that say your time is more valuable than that person's time, like, guys, that's where I don't really agree with the whole rationale of, oh, I don't want to waste your time or mine. No. Dude, you don't want to waste their time. I am absolutely willing to waste my time, because wasting my time is just finding a prospect. Like, you're going to have to, if you call on 30 people and 29 say no, but one said yes, that's not a waste of time. You just now know every 30 people, you're going to get one yes. Like, every single attempt is not a waste. It's just another opportunity to get further to that 1 out of 30 or whatever your metrics are. So I'm never going to feel embarrassed or I'm, blah, 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 like putting myself on a pedestal. That's not how I do things. So I like that. It makes it so these people know, like, we're not down their throat. We're trying to have a conversation, and we know this is a cold, like, we are absolutely aware that this is a cold email, and I'm not going to come off and say that, oh no, like, I don't know. So that's the type of training that I don't agree with. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. Those would be cold email examples for gathering clients directly. You could also do a partnership cold email. Same type of thing. Compliment, case study, call to action, right? So now you're reaching out to, maybe you're reaching out to a CPA. Maybe you're reaching out to a marketing firm or an agency, a web developer, right? People that you know talk to your merchants and your prospects every single day. So now it's, hey, Dan, really love what you're building over there. Huge congrats to whatever, your column in, I don't know, XYZ magazine, or your nomination for XYZ award in whatever. Recently, we worked with whatever referral company, allowing them to earn a monthly residual from their clients' credit card processing instead of sending people to Stripe. You just be straight up. With this, we now have a premier payments partner and rev share program where you can take advantage of a 50-50 split. Interested? Let me know. Boom, same thing. So that's kind of how I do things for partnerships. Some examples for cold emails. Really apologize. I know this probably sounds disgusting. So let's say that that's day one. Day one, X email. Now, on day two, again, you do this how you want, but on day two, if you were tracking things, day one, email one sent out. Day two, phone call or in-person visit, if that's what you want to do. What I will then do is I will send a follow-up email. And that email will either be sent on day 3 or day 4. Give it some breathing room. Okay? So let's say I send it out on a Monday. Now I haven't heard from them. I didn't even want to make a call. I didn't want to go in person. I want to email them again. I'm going to email them on Thursday or Friday, and I'm going to say one sentence. And I'm going to reply. You're going to keep the email thread. So you're going to go into the sent email, and you're just going to reply to that sent email. You want to keep it in the same thread. Don't keep sending another email. Keep it in the same subject thread. So with this follow-up, it's going to be, hey, X, I'm sure you're busy, and I wanted to make sure this didn't get buried. That simple. Send it. Okay? Now, what we could then do is I call a breakup email. I really only send 3 emails, and my last email is like a last-ditch effort. So what I've been doing is you can do one of 2 things, okay? You can do an email in terms of like copy, where you say, hey, Dan, tried to reach you a few times, left a few messages, didn't hear back. Where should we go from here? Best. And just be done. Or what I do, let me see if I can pull it up actually. I send a meme and tell you what, this meme gets more responses on this last ditch effort than you probably think. And it's like a no response type of meme. So let's see if I can pull this up here. The laptop. Here we go. Okay. So on my meme, I send, where you at? On a no reply, it's the meme. Let's see if I can show you this. Let's see if this works. This is the meme that I send. It's a cat with money in its mouth, and it says, how much for a reply? And I don't send anything else. I just send that. More often than not, that's the time that they'll actually email me back. Because, again, I'm like taking the stress out of this thing. I'm de-escalating this. And I'm just trying to do something funny. So that's typically how I end it. I send them a meme, how much for a reply? And that's when they're saying, oh, sorry, blah, 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 not interested. Or, oh, sorry, yeah, we're just busy. Hey, let's, have a conversation. I just want to reply. I don't care if they say I'm not interested, because then I'll stop talking to them. I'll send them into a different bucket. Maybe I'll follow up in 90 days, see how things are going after that. But really, you're just trying to get a reply out of this. So that is the structure that I do. Very easy, very simple. Really the only challenge is developing the list. So if you have an easier way to develop a list that's not so hands-on, awesome. I know mine takes a little bit of time, and I know the messaging is going to take a little bit of time because I'm trying to personalize as much as I can. Obviously the follow-up is not personalized at all, but I'm trying to make sure that that first email has some personalization to it. So that's email. That's how I do things. Hopefully that helps. Let me know. Test it. Definitely test it. Tweak it to make it fit your voice and really what you're trying to stand for. And if you guys have questions, drop them below. We can tweak things as we go. Let me know feedback as well. If this totally doesn't hit for you and it's a waste of your time, say, dude, you're on to the wrong thing. This will never work, blah, blah, blah. But again, know that if you're doing email, it has to be in a sequence where it's just kind of like long term. Hey, just touch points. We know there's an average of 8 touch points to make a sale. Sure, you can do it on the first try. Absolutely, it can be done on the first call, 100%. But more touch points, more familiarity, that's what this is all about. So use this as a part of your overall prospecting. I definitely think don't just stick to email, because that's going to be a lengthy amount of time to actually get momentum. Use this as a part of your in-person or your calling. That's where all the magic happens. You've seen this, I've seen it, and I've read it. Salesforce, this is how they built their company. A lot of other companies have kind of used this model, a lot of SaaS companies. And this is just what I found works the best for me when I am sprinkling email campaigns, if you will, into my prospecting. So we're going to wrap it up for that. I know this is very long, so we'll do another series here on calls and in-person stuff. We'll do some other things for social media and all that, but this is email. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you guys think that this is helpful, if you want more content around this. Definitely, it would mean the world to me if you guys hit that subscribe button and stay tuned as we're building this out, as if we're doing it in real time. So really appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll get you guys here soon next time. Take care.